Awesome, welcome to a post-game report. The desk's pretty messy right now, so I'm doing this video off my desk for the post-game report for the LCP Mark II. Now, this post-game report will be reflective of the upgraded version that you'll see in the latest video I've posted, which is with the Hadron TDC slide, which goes with the LCP Mark II. But I just wanted to give some post-game feedback. Now, I did play most of the game in this silliest configuration, so the previous video to this will be me upgrading this pistol to the Colin the Caterpillar variant, which is quite funny, basically. I don't know where the Colin skin is right now, so it's all taken apart just for the moment. But I had some great fun with this. First of all, the range on this for the power was quite surprising. So it was 0.39 joules currently. I'm looking to get an upgraded inner barrel, which should bring that up to about 0.5, 0.6 joules by looking at the reviews. In an ideal world, I'd actually like to get something that's nearly as long as the suppressor. So 0.3, 0.4 joules I was getting on this for a game day. Enough for people to feel in close combat. With some of the long range shots I took, it took 1 or 2 shots to get people to actually call their hits. But I can get that the power of this hitting you at long range is probably going to feel more like a ricochet than an actual hit. Obviously, if you don't think it's a ricochet, you should still call it. But for a lot of people, they're just going to feel a very, very light tap, which is probably going to feel like it's bounced off of something. So yeah, it's quite an interesting thing. Firing wise, I must admit this is let me just get an empty magazine here. Firing wise, I must admit it's pretty slow, so even with me pulling it pretty quickly, it's still pretty slow. It's pretty loud with no suppressor on, or without the suppressor on. I think this was actually referred to as a silencer, which I know is controversial, but big difference in noise there between the two. But the firing time, I think, is the biggest issue of this, because there's so much slop here, because it is you're pushing a BB forwards first. When you're getting back to about this point, you've completed the seal, and then the last bit is just pushing that hammer back and letting the hammer go. So there's quite a lot of slop there for the pull, which meant I found that if I was getting in a pistol duel where my first shot didn't land, there's no cameraman here, so I can, if I want to. When my first shot didn't land, the issue was that they could get back 2 or 3 shots downrange the time it took me to make my second, which in and of itself is not the worst thing on planet Earth, because in most engagements, if you miss your first shot, it's going to be 50-50 who gets the hit after that point. But it was just a little bit frustrating sometimes, because I only lost battles because I had to drop on somebody. I took my first shot, I missed by about 1 inch, and then the second shot hit them, but by that point I'd been got once or twice, so it was me who's going home. Other things I had with this that I found was quite difficult going throughout the day, fatigue-wise in my hands, this is quite small, so I was finding that I was getting quite a sore palm, because most of the weight of you squeezing the gun is going right into this bit here. I think the extended mag might alleviate that, so I'm going to pick some extended mags up for this and see how those go. And then magazine capacity, only 10 shots, so I was finding I was changing mags after every engagement, because I was like boom, 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 maybe having 2 rounds left in a magazine, so I was then changing to a fresh mag. Magazine capacity, I think on one of these mags I managed to get 4 mags, so 40 rounds out of that without regassing is phenomenal. The gas efficiency on this is amazing. I have found that using a lubricant-free gas that I was actually recommended by the guys at Fire Support, which is this one here, which is an ultra rare lubricant-free green gas. It's basically green gas with no silicon in it, so it's basically just unscented propane at that point, or quite close to it. Works really well, and I've not found any issues with it not hopping properly, especially with the Hadron TDC. If you are upgrading this to have a TDC hop and you're going to keep it stock, I'm guessing your experience is going to be different, because you're going to have to do the bend mod inside. for any of you that don't know what that is inside of here you have a in the original slide you just have a piece of metal that is pushing down on the hop unit to bend the hop rubber to create that hop up power. You will probably have to go in and bend that piece of metal a bit further down to apply more hop to actually start hopping BBs. Apparently this works best on kind of 0.28s, 0.3s, which is what I've been running on, and I have had some pretty good results there. So, would I recommend this? As a silly toy, yes. It's 80 quid. You get a mag included. If you don't want to do any of the upgrades, you can even buy a holster. So holster, mag and gun for about 100 quid, and the holster holds the spare mag too. Spare mags are dirt cheap because they're about 20 quid. For the extended ones, they're about £23 if you can get hold of them because they're quite rare. You can HPA this too, which means if you want to take the pressure up to something ridiculous and try and get this to work with ridiculous pressure, you can, but I wouldn't recommend it because there is obviously mostly plastic components here. You don't want it to explode in your face. So I would recommend it for somebody who wants a sniper sidearm, which maybe is only going to be usable when somebody's right on top of you and you have to drop on them, because again, like I said, your follow-up shots are going to struggle because somebody turns around with kind of with anything else other than this, they're going to be out shooting you in the way of RPM. But for something that is a backup or even just a pocketed secondary, because again this is teeny tiny, I can fit this in my pocket quite easily and just take it out. So for these guys as a secondary, I would recommend it too. It's loud, so if you're not running it with any type of suppressor or kind of foam end, it is going to tell everybody where you are too. So if you're a sniper and using this as your secondary, you're going to get heard because it is quite loud. I don't know if it's quite as loud as an AEG going off, but definitely quite loud indeed. So hopefully this has been useful for you, kind of a post-action report. I would probably say value for money. It's fun. If you're looking for a very, very small sidearm that fits in a pocket that you can have when you're sniping or kind of for like an extra secondary in CQB, fantastic, worth the money. If you wanted to use it in any other application, a AAPO1 that comes with a mag for the same price is better option really. The reason being is that AAPO1 can fire faster out of the box, it will have more range out of the box, it will have a higher power out of the box, which means people are going to feel it more. So this is going to be outranked by an AAPO1, but this is not really a main gun kind of pistol. This is a secondary kind of utility, which is why I picked it up for a little bit of fun, so I could run it inside of a teddy, a Colin the Cat and Pella teddy, which you would have seen in my previous video, just for kind of laughs and giggles. So hopefully that's been useful, a kind of an after action post game report. As always, I will be doing a review of this after a year of usage, so check back in about 11 months time and I'll let you know just how I've got on with it, as I've been trying to do a 1 year later on all my gear as well. If you've got any questions about the LCP Mark II, please leave it in the comments below. If you found this series from unboxing to upgrading to reviewing, please feel free to subscribe, drop a like if you will, and we'll hopefully see you in the next one.